Alright, it is 9:45 a.m. I'm very lucky I didn't just sleep in and miss out on the market open, at least not by too much, but I managed to be here, and this thing is trained a lot like a tsunami panic OTC runner. This is like the kind where they just don't really seem to bounce that much, and seems very sketchy, and it might look like it's trying to turn around, but then without much notice, it starts to downtrend significantly with very little volume, kind of like what it's doing right here. I did trade this thing twice. I'm going to guess if it's like any of the other ones, it's going to break the day low at some point and not really get above VWAP, but this one could be different. It did offer a lot of nice morning panic bounce plays throughout the entire pattern, not just in the very beginning, but like even on these random days, it still offers a morning panic bounce play. Yeah, it looks like we're trying to break the day low. I did buy 200 shares at 140. That was at 936, and I was trying to be in for a morning panic bounce play. I was actually considering to buy 300 shares, thinking it was just going to be a wick right here, and the turnaround was just way too quickly. But that was so that worked out. I had a trend line. I like how we did get past it, but then it just downtrended and made a wick, tried to regain the trend line again, and then it didn't. So that's when I bought on the reversal candle in theory, and I was in at 140, and I did get out of this one kind of quickly the same minute at 936 because I didn't like how we were starting to reverse, and then we made a move all the way to 143, and then it was coming all the way back down, and that just gave me really bad vibes. I've seen a lot of stocks that do that where it has a morning panic bounce play and finds a bottom somewhere, then it just has this really wide candle. I got screwed. Last week with CRTD was something similar with that. No, actually, no. I think that was OZSC. And then it sold all the way back, and then it traded back and forth. And this one did get to VWAP, but I've seen some where they fail, and then you're in at a really bad price. And then I traded it again at 938 after it kind of had this downtrend here, and it didn't really continue further. So I was in the reversal at 137, 200 shares. And then I did get out at 143 at 940 because we made a move towards VWAP, and I just didn't like it, and that it might just go off very quickly again, very similar to the first candle that I was worried about right here, where it just makes a wide extension and then it sells off in a downtrend. So I did get out of this one at 143. Maybe I could have done better with my sell. I don't know, but it did try again and then it just sold off. And I'll be watching it now. It's broken the day low a little bit. Maybe it does something like this, wipes out a bunch of sellers, and now it's going to actually turn around for real. But it could also just keep selling. Again, when I see a stock that's down so much, they don't really seem to bounce that often. CRTD also downtrended, but I'm gonna take GTII over CRTD, and that's pretty much it for right now. I'll make an update later. Haven't really been looking at NWBO. Nothing really significant with this one other than the fact it's trying to trade around that same multi-day support, I guess. So yeah, that's it for right now. I'm gonna focus probably on GTII, and I'll make an update later if I trade it again. Alright, now that it is 9:55, I do remember that I still have a position with CRTD, and unfortunately this one, with what I was talking about the other day, this one got me, because it actually did have a gap down, and that's something that it hasn't really done. If you look at a chart here, it's not really known to do a gap down, and that was the case right here. This was a bit of a gap down, but it finished really ugly. I wouldn't have been long any positions. Yeah, that's just really unfortunate, really crappy with this stock. I will be basically at this point, I don't like that seller. I might consider selling now, actually. I'm gonna probably consider selling now. If not, I'll just risk the day low. And if it breaks out, I'll be out for sure. I'm not gonna just keep trying to lower my risk level or something stupid like that. Yeah, that's what I get. I forgot, that position with CRTD, and it happened to gap down. That's really unlucky. The chance that something like that happens again is pretty low. Just, really unlucky there. And yeah, still nothing I really want to trade with GTII. Maybe a potential inverse head and shoulders, a shoulder, and then this could be like the head. A little bit risky, but that could be something. And then the goal will be for it to make a move towards 143. And if it doesn't complete the pattern and make a shoulder, it might just break above VWAP right then and there. Or maybe it does uptrend to this point, downtrends one more time, holds this level. This could be an inverse head and shoulders setup. But again, whenever OTC is down as much as it is, it just doesn't really seem to bounce. So I'm gonna be a bit more cautious with that. Okay, it is 10:23. I did have an interest in buying this, but the turnaround was really stupid. As you can see, it was trading by 125, 126, and then we had a gap, and it started trading in the 130s very, very quickly. I did have an interest here. It looks a little bit like an inverse head and shoulders. The shoulder, the head, and then I thought this could be like the shoulder. I could be in at 127, and I can risk the day low, which would be 120. And then the goal will be for it to get to VWAP, and there's a chance that it might aggressively try to push its way towards the VWAP level. If this one ends up working, it might also just be a little, tricky thing to learn. A bunch of buyers and chasers, and then they just bring it back down again under the trend line right here. But I don't know. This one can actually make a move towards VWAP. So yeah, really sucky the way that one traded right here. I did see this downtrend here. I had no interest in it until it was starting to reverse, but then this was too aggressive, so I might, do something like that right here. And it did uptrend and get, yeah, look at that. I mean, that's not really real. Um, it was only two prints, but that's exactly what I was thinking about. Yeah, that's a crappy way to turn around. They should not do that if they want more dip buyers in their setups, if they want more people buying their stock. But I mean, they can trade it however they want to trade it. And yeah, so I'll just continue to watch it, but there's nothing I want to do. I did get out of CRTD right here at 10:02, and that was because it looked like it wasn't going to break above VWAP, and then it was downtrending, so I got out at this 90 cent level. Again, if I did this correctly, I would have been cutting it once it was breaking under $1 because it, in that case, didn't hold that $1 support level that I was interested in. Again, thinking that it was trying to hold off of $1, and then I got it when it was starting to turn around at 110, and then it started to make a move, and I did sell a portion of my position at 116. Once it was really looking like it wasn't going to uptrend more and make a top, which it is the case right here. The chart does look a little weird right now, but it might look better once we have more price action going on today. And yeah, maybe hindsight 2020, I could have sold everything and then I could have just tried it again if it started to break above the high, which was right here at 121, and try to hold on to that, maybe. But yeah, I just screwed up by not remembering the position right there because I was so tired and I almost missed out a large portion of the market open. So yeah, that's pretty much it for right now. I'll keep looking at GTII and don't use market orders. I'll make an update later. Okay, it is 10:46, and I had another trade right here. This one didn't work out, or at least right now. Yeah, I think I'm just gonna keep taking L's. It seems like that's all I'm doing, just taking L's. Especially with CRTD. This one I just screwed up. I'm gonna actually maybe buy some freaking melatonin because the problem is that I stay up late because I know if I try to sleep in early, like at 10 a.m. Oh, not at 10 a.m. Well, 10 p.m. I just won't be able to fall asleep, and I'll lay in bed for like a few hours, like a freaking idiot and just like lose my mind. So I stay up late, and then once I actually can fall asleep around 2 a.m., then my body wants to sleep a whole freaking 10 hours, and then I wake up super tired. So I think I'm gonna just try that to just, help me try to sleep at a reasonable time before 12 a.m. And then I can ideally sleep enough, and then I don't do anything dumb at the market open or sleep past it. So I did have a trade here with GTII. I drew a trend line based off of these levels right here, and I liked it for the most part, and I was trying to trade it for something that makes it move towards VWAP. Unfortunately, it is doing another thing that I thought it could do, which was to just downtrend maybe one more time, even though it breaks under this trend line. And then eventually it can make a move towards VWAP and try to break above it. I did buy 200 shares. Wasn't too happy with my entry, but that was pretty much what I was able to get because they had a spread at 1040. Right here I was in at 134 and a half, 200 shares, and I did cut it accidentally too early. Um, I thought it was touching 131 because I had this trend line as my risk level. So when it looked like it was breaking below the trend line, I cut. Yeah, I did cut it, but I was supposed to cut it at this point if it were to have been a drop to 131. It just dropped to 132, so I did get out right here at 1044. That was dumb. It did ultimately break under the trend line here, and maybe it's going to try to uptrend and regain it perhaps, or like just stay right under it, but keep uptrending. I don't really know, but that was an attempt right there. Probably going to have a red day overall, but I think a lot of lessons were learned, and I'll just keep going at it. And yeah, I'll make an update as to what this one does later, if it tries to break VWAP or anything like that. It is 12:10 p.m. and I had another trade with GTII, and I think this is going to be the last trade for today unless I see something super nice. This thing ultimately broke the downtrending projection, I guess, using this trend line right here, making one off of this top right here, this top right here, this top right here, this top right here, and I liked it when it was breaking past it. I was not really looking at the chart so much. I had the chart on the other screen, but I was doing other things at this point, and I did ultimately buy at 1205, which was right here when it was starting to break the top of this channel at 134. To be honest, this thing did a break past the trend line. It held itself and then it broke the top, which was 134, and that's why I got in at 135 and a half. But if it were to have made a downtrend maybe one more time and then be higher than this level, I actually would have considered buying 1,000 shares, but that wasn't the case. This was a little bit of a riskier setup in that maybe it just breaks above this overall downtrending trend line, just hangs on to it and then it sells off and gets right back under. So I was interested in buying a lot more shares if it were to get right back under, but still hold above this level right here. So I only bought 100 shares because I haven't really seen this setup work in a really long time. When the stock is down a lot on the day, at least 20%, I don't really see them really get to VWAP and uptrend much further. So that's why I only traded 100 shares. Sure, it would have been nice if I bought 200 shares, but that was the thing I had in mind. And maybe since it's been trading for such a long period of time at this point in the day, I could have risked my yeah, I could have risked maybe $1 as the ultimate level. Actually, no, that would still be $100 risk level. Okay, so yeah, I did buy there, and then I sold kind of quickly at 1208 because it was spiking very quickly. I got out at 142 and a half, so right around here is when I got out. It's still trying to uptrend. There was a lot of people at 144, and I didn't like that. And then people were taking out the bid. And I just wanted it to be a slow uptrend and break past VWAP, putting up higher lows and stuff like that. And then maybe I would have bought another 100 shares to be fully positioned. But yeah, I mean it worked out. I just wish I had 200 shares, but I think I did this one well, just having 100 shares. I want to see what I can do over a longer period of time, and I'll make an update then. But yeah, this one did break above VWAP and then some, so not so bad. I'll make an update again later, if not at the market close. Alright, it is 11:25 p.m. and I'm here to call it off. Overall, I'm going to be up on a day $6 and 45 cents. I actually had to redo this last part of the video where I just show all the trades and just give my thoughts because I accidentally included some trades from the other trading day just because I'm just so freaking out of it and tired. But yeah, I definitely screwed up with CRTD, and I'm gonna try not to be a part of that nonsense again. It looks like it just transformed into one of the other tickers right here, CRTD, and yeah, it just sold off. I'm happy I didn't do anything stupid, and that at least with the dumb things I did by not remembering the position because I was freaking tired and out of it, and again almost waking up maybe at like 10:30, and then I'm much lower in the position, or maybe even further down if I wake up later. I'm happy I did cut the trade when I saw it wasn't trying to break above VWAP after I had a sell off, and I did sell that last piece at 90 cents because if I didn't do that, that would have been actually really bad. As you can see, it continued to sell off, and there wasn't really anything clean for like a reversal setup. It just doesn't really seem like there was much of a setup, but I mean, I guess hindsight 2020, maybe a trend line right here would have played off. I guess something like this. No, no, actually, no, nothing really, because this thing just went under the line right here and it just shot above it, and it was much later in the day. Nothing really nice with this one overall. Even looking at it the way it traded the entire day, I just can't see a point where I would have actually realistically traded it without, hindsight 2020. And yeah, this was the last trade I had with GTII because it uptrended quickly. I also sold quickly, and it didn't really get that much further. I mean, I guess I got as high as 149, and my best sell was at 142 and a half. So I guess there was some space for me to have sold a bit higher, but I don't mind that at all. I do mind, however, and let me see if the trend lines are still here. I had a chance to buy it right here, and this is one where I could have actually bought with 1,000 shares. I do regret missing out on this because I like how we broke the overall downtrending trend line, and I had this trade here, but then I liked how it, started the downtrend, and then it had a dip right here below the trend line with significant volume. It came back a little bit, and then went right back to the trend line, now holding it, not breaking under it, holding it. And then this could have been a setup where maybe I could buy right when it looks like it's trying to break out of this little channel here at 125. And I could have bought like 1,000 shares. Unfortunately, this thing just happened way too quickly, and I wasn't really focused on looking at this setup. I wish I did because it worked out, obviously. And I got as high as 135. Sure, it did one more dip towards the trend line and then it bounced back here, but this was at the end of the day. I don't think I would have traded something like this. I do also regret the idea of that. I could have maybe have traded 20 shares or something super tiny just to practice a swing trade because I've seen a lot of these that do bounce when they have a big tsunami panic. Like eventually the next day, this one for example could easily open in the 140s or 150s just with a nice gap up to sell into. So I want to see what GTII does tomorrow in that sense. If it's going to offer reversal setups towards the upside, if it's not going to just sell off and die like STEK, which did absolutely, nothing once they had this downtrend overall. I guess a little bounce right here, but very ugly. This thing just really died off. So yeah, that's pretty much it for today. Again, a missed setup right here with GTII, and then a potential swing setup I missed out on. I had one sell where I sold under the trend line a little too early. I thought it was under it, but it wasn't. And then I should have, recognized my position with CRTD. I would have lost a lot less. Only up $6 with all of these trades, but even though it is a super tiny step, it is a step in the right direction, and another reason why I need to seriously take into consideration better sleeping habits. That's all I have for today.